Hello students, I am Antra Gupta and I am here to discuss with you about a very interesting topic, that is the Green Revolution. So when we hear about this color green, the very first thing that comes into our mind is the plants and also the crops. And revolution, basically it means a great change in something. So if we define green revolution, it basically refers to the introduction of new agricultural techniques and tools to increase agricultural production. This concept got popularity in the early 1960s, firstly for the wheat crop and then for the rice crop, by giving it a tremendous increase in the productivity level, which was about 200% or which was about more than 200%. So the person behind this great revolution was Norman Borlaug. He was an American agronomist and who led whose initiatives contributed to this extensive increase in agriculture production, what we know as Green Revolution. And later on, he was known as the father of Green Revolution worldwide. But this term was coined by the administrator of the US Agency for International Development, that was by William S. Gord, in a speech on 8 March 1968. So, Norman Borlaug, during his research in 1940s, he developed a new disease-resistant high-yield varieties of wheat. And by the combined efforts of Borlaug's wheat varieties and the new mechanized agriculture technologies, Mexico was able to increase its productivity of wheat, and later on it became an exporter of wheat by the 1960s. And due to this great success of Green Revolution in Mexico, the technologies which was used in this revolution, it spread worldwide in the 1950s and in 1960s. In 1960s, when India was under famine condition and the population was increasing, as such, it became difficult to feed the population. Then Dr. M.S. Swaminathan was the person who requested the director of Indian Agricultural Research Institute to invite Dr. Borlaug to India. And the state of Punjab was selected by the government of India for the trial of these new crops. There were two reasons for selecting Punjab for the first trial. One was the reliable water supply, and also another thing was that Punjab has a great history of agricultural success. So by 1966, finally the Green Revolution got launched in India under the Prime Ministership of Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri and with the help of Indian genetist M.S. Swaminathan, who later came to be known as father of Green Revolution in India. This Green Revolution basically increased the productivity, agricultural productivity in the states of Haryana, Punjab and Uttar Pradesh. Next topic is the components of the Green Revolution, or you can say the element of the Green Revolution. So there were basic elements which led to the success of Green Revolution. The very first element is the HYV seeds. So these seeds were basically developed by Mr. Borlaug and they were known as the dwarf or semi-dwarf seeds. These seeds were basically grown or raised in a controlled condition in which basically the nutrients were supplied to the specific part of the wheat plant. the part, basically the leaves and the stem of the wheat plant. So that the plant that developed from those seeds were shorter in size, and they have a strong stem that could support the wind and could also sustain the heavy weight of the grains. Moreover, these varieties of wheat have certain features also, like they were early maturing, highly productive, and they were disease resistant. Another element of green revolution was the chemical fertilizers. The traditional compost that was used was not sufficient because they had low level of nutrients. So the chemical fertilizers were used that has the high concentration of chemical fertilizers. That had the high concentration of various chemicals like urea and etc., which could increase the productivity level. Next element is the irrigation. So for the controlled growth of the crops and for the dilution of the fertilizers, proper irrigation facilities were needed, which can ensure proper watering of crops. Next element was the chemical pesticides and germicides. So the seeds that were used, they were new and they were not used to the local pests, germs and diseases. So germicides and pesticides became compulsory for securing high yields. Next element was the chemical herbicides and weedicides. So to protect the crops, to protect the costly fertilizers that were being consumed by the weeds or herbs, weedicides and herbicides were used while sowing the crops, sowing the seeds. Next element was the credit, storage and marketing and distribution. So green revolution basically needed costlier inputs such as the costly fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, and for which cheaper credit was a must. And also further, you can see this was region specific. So the crops needed, the yield needed proper storage, marketing and distribution. For all these purposes, better credit facilities was needed, and these credit facilities were provided by credit institutions like commercial and cooperative banks. So with the help of this credit institutions, farmers were in a position to use improved seeds, fertilizers, machines, and distribute their yields in the market. Lastly, we will see the impact of the green revolution. So there were some negative impact and also the positive impact of this green revolution. First, the socio-economic impact. So due to tremendous increment in food production, many countries become self-sufficient, but green revolution was region specific. So there was differences in farmers' income, and that increased the interpersonal as well as interregional disparities. Second one was ecological impact. Of course, green revolution involved the use of fertilizers that were highly concentrated, and the use of such fertilizers led to degradation of fertility of those soils. Also, the water table fall down because proper watering was to be done to the crops, and also the toxic level in the food chain increased to such a level that the output or the grain was unfit for it became unfit for the human consumption. So that was all about the Green Revolution. Thank you.